Hi guys, I am going to be doing my military spouse tag. I got these questions and I'm going to answer them. I haven't really read them yet, so I'm kind of winging this. And this is my son Braden. Hi. And so we're going to be doing this together. So, number one, how did you and your spouse meet? Well, my husband and I grew up in the same town in Virginia, and we really first met in 8th grade when we went to the high school together. Our high school started out in 8th grade, 8th through 12th. Now it's, middle school and high school, but at that point it was just 8th through 12th. So we met then. And number two, how old were you when you two met? I would think maybe 13 or 14. I'm not 100% sure. How long have you been together? We have been together, um, we've been dating, we just started really seriously dating after graduation. So that was in 2008. You want to go? So that was in 2008. So about 3 years, but we've been married for 2. Where are you and your spouse originally from? We're from near Richmond, Virginia. How did you feel about him joining the military? Um, I wasn't exactly thrilled about the idea, just because I never really, in my life, wanted the life of a military spouse. Deployments and, him being gone all the time. It wasn't something I would have originally chosen before Denver, but it's what he wanted, and I loved him, and I felt I needed to support him, and I do. I support him, and he does so many great things for our country and for my family. So it was hard at first, but now what can you do? I married him, and I love him, and I love what he does. Let's see. Where did your spouse go to basic training? Boot camp for the Marine Corps. Just saying. But he went to Paris Island in South Carolina. Yep. Has your spouse ever been deployed? Yes and no. My husband, on his first deployment, technically, he left on June 30th for his deployment, but he had to return due to an accident in Afghanistan he returned around the 11th of August, and he's due to return at the end of this month, or at the end of, around next week. Okay. Ever been to his promotion ceremony? I have not. I don't think Brandon, stop, you're being so wiggly. We're not really allowed to in his unit. They do it at work, and I'm guessing it's probably for more higher ranking promotions that we're allowed to join. How long have you been a military wife? I've been a military wife for 2 years now. About 2 years and a month. So we just had our anniversary. Did you marry him before or after he joined? I married him after he joined. He proposed to me before he joined, but we got married after he finished his school. How did your husband propose? First time or second time? The first time he proposed to me, we went on a trip to Virginia Tech to visit friends and just had a weekend before he went to boot camp. And he proposed to me there. Nothing really that special. The second time, we were picking him up we ended our engagement just for, just because we wanted to make sure this is really what we wanted, so we kind of took, it was only a week. We only took a week apart, and, nothing happened, but we decided to get back together. At first we decided to get back together just as, boyfriend and girlfriend and see where it went, but I went to go pick him up with his dad to bring him home for a 96, which is like, a long weekend. And we were driving. He was in the front seat. I was in the back seat sitting behind him. And he sends me a text, put your arms around me. So I put my arms around him, over the seat. And as I slide my hands over him, he slides a ring on my finger and, texts me will you marry me? And of course I said yes. And then later that night we went camping and we went on a boat ride, and we had some friends with us, and they brought us some champagne and strawberries, and It was very romantic. It was very much a surprise because I did not think we were going to be getting engaged. At least not again that soon. Where did you get married? We got married at my house. We have a house in the country and a big yard, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful wedding. Um, did he wear his uniform on his wedding day? Yes, he did. I kind of made him. He wasn't going to originally, but I asked him to. Where are you and your spouse currently stationed? We are currently stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Do you live on base? Yes, we do. We live on base, and the housing is actually beautiful. I have another channel that I use for posting videos about Braden, and I have a video of the house that we like before we moved in. So it was like, kind of like a house tour. I put a link down at the bottom. How long were you married when you had to go through your first separation? Actually, we had our first separation 3 days after we got married. We got married, and then he had to go to another set of training before I moved down here, so we had about a month of separation. What is your favorite base so far? Well, I've only been at Camp Lejeune, so I guess that's my favorite. You playing with my phone, baby? Do you think your spouse looks good in his uniform? Heck yes. I love my husband in his uniform, especially boots and utes. Love it. You know, I can't get enough of it. I always had a thing for men in uniform, but I never wanted to. I was always thought I'd marry like somebody like a police officer or something like that, but you know, never expected to marry military. Never. Do you think military life is more advanced than civilian life? More advanced? I'm not sure I understand this question. Advanced. I'm skipping this question because I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just stupid, but you know, advanced, I don't know. Definitely more difficult. I don't know. I can't. Advanced. I don't know. Do you like the benefits you receive as a military dependent? They're pretty good. The health benefits is really great. Like we had our son, didn't have to pay a penny, and you know, all the OBGYN visits and you know, all of his, you know, pediatric visits we didn't have to pay a penny for. The only thing we really had to pay for health-wise is prescriptions, and even that we haven't paid for all of them. It's just some of them, like if we get our prescriptions off base, then we have to pay like $3 for, you know, prescription. Let's see. The dental isn't that great as a dependent. It's great for my husband as the active duty, but you know, as a dependent, the dental benefits aren't that great. They cover routine and some other things, but they get really specific about what they cover. Do you have a lot of military wife friends? Not a whole lot, you know, just because I've had a lot of military friends, but they've all moved. And I have a few here. I have my friend Amber, Allie, Jen, and Christy. They're pretty good, and I'm starting to make friends with my new neighbor. I mean, I've only lived here a couple months, and out of those months, I've been out of town a lot, just for, you know, family health reasons, and then, you know, while my husband was deployed, I went home a lot. What is the hardest part of military life? The hardest part, definitely separation is hard, especially if you have kids. You know, Denver's been in and out of Braden's life most of the time since he's been born, because he was getting ready for deployment, and you know, his pre-deployment training was like gone a month, home for 2 weeks, gone a month, home for 2 weeks, gone a month, home for 2 weeks. It's very hard for Braden. It's very unstable. And he's just like, you know, who the heck is this guy, you know, coming and going? And, you know, it was really hard because, you know, all the other husbands were home more often, especially my friend Allie's husband, who has yet to deploy. He's been in for 5 years. He was always around, so it was very hard, you know, for Braden. And he was craving male attention. Oh, icky face. Okay. So anyway, do you own military wife stuff? No, not really. I have a bracelet with my. It's like kind of like a name tag. I should have gotten it. I have it in my car, which my husband has. But it's a name tag bracelet. It's like a strip, the strip that's on his uniform that has his name on it. It's made. Oh, excuse me, made into a bracelet. All the wives in my husband's team have one. Do you support your spouse as a member of the military? 100%. I do, of course. He is doing the most noble thing I can imagine possible, for anybody to do, other than, firefighting and police work. Um, he's, protecting our freedom and, risking everything. He's risking his life. He's risking, being able to see his son another day. Brayden, look at that baby. He's risking to see his wife, his child, his family, and as scary as that is for me, imagining my husband gone one day. I mean, you gotta think of the bigger picture. As hard as it will be to lose my husband, he's doing this for millions of people. So, and then hearing when people hear that my husband is in the military and then thanking him for his service, that makes it not a whole lot easier, but a little bit better knowing that people appreciate what he does and actually acknowledge the risk he's taking. It's hard, but that's it for the tag, and my little one is getting cranky and ready for lunch, so I'm gonna go, and I tag all of you military wives out there to do this as well. So, bye.